Hi there, it's another week of queer cheer. Later, the beer bottle causing much gaiety. First though, let's have a right good laugh at Hungary's bigoted failing president, Viktor Orbán. His attempt to ban Budapest Pride seen as many as 200,000 people show up on Saturday, the biggest attendance ever, with many European lawmakers among them. Last year's number was 35,000. Oh, Viktor, what have you done? This woman risking a fine by being there.
It is this year that the situation got so toxic in Hungary, including in Budapest, that now we need to make our voices heard a little more loudly, I think. Definitely peacefully, but we need to be present and need to be out here.
Thanks to Reuters. Meanwhile, 50 arrests in Istanbul in Turkey ahead of a banned Pride march there. But 1 million people have turned out for New York's event, with tens of thousands more in major cities in the likes of Venezuela, India and Ireland. Next, a big legal win for a trans couple in India who don't want their child's birth certificate to feature the terms mother and father. Kerala High Court's ruled the pair can both be recorded as parent instead. Previously, trans man Zahad, who gave birth, was listed as mother transgender, while trans woman Zia Paval was down as father transgender. A prestigious honour for Barbara Bush, the French DJ and lesbian activist from the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. She's been made a Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters, which you get for significant contributions to the arts and literature. Says it's a nod to her resilience, proclaiming herself still fat, still Jewish, still lesbian, and more proud than ever. Barbara tells Attitude watching the crowds when she's DJing is joyful.
To know that I can make people happy with just a vibe, music, songs, or just create memories with music, it's like the best job ever.
A whole load of homophobic, sexist and anti-Semitic abuse came Barbara's way after taking part in what was seen as a drag reenactment of the Last Supper at the Olympics. Now though, she says, here I am today, a knight, what an honour. Barack Obama has been bigging up the importance of gay friendships to the development of straight men. The former US president's been on his wife Michelle's IMO podcast. How on earth did she manage to secure such a high-profile guest? Says he learned a lot from having a gay professor at university.
At a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line. Who became one of my favorite professors and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness.
Obama brought same-sex marriage to America and included sexual orientation and gender identity in hate crime protections. And a bottle of beer with a kind of pointy rounded bottom for sticking in the sand at the beach looks like an item you'd stick somewhere else. The internet's having a gay old time with designer Ken Yabi's creation, which keeps your drink upright and secure when it's not in your hand. But some puerile gutter snipes are likening it to a pleasure device that involves insertion. ER Dr. Sam Garley's commented, I don't know who needs to hear this, but do not even think about it. No time to tell you that a mural of queer entertainer and civil rights activist Josephine Baker has been unveiled in Paris. And South Korean pop star Cherry has come out as trans. Hi there, Queer Cheer Week continues. Later, the LGBTQ+ ghost story with a haunted vacuum cleaner. First though, another record-breaking year for London Trans Plus Pride, with more than 100,000 people showing up. Comes off the back of all the attacks on transgender rights in Britain and elsewhere. Existence and resistance was the theme, driven by that UK Supreme Court ruling, the legal definition of a woman's based on biological sex. Victoria tells Channel 4 News trans people aren't going to disappear.
My existence here today is not because there is an easy pathway or route for me to exist in the first place. Whilst things can be legislated and transphobia can exist, it doesn't remove us. It just makes things more difficult. And then I end up asking people, actually, is this what you want for people around you to be suffering in this way?
Attendance was 40,000 up on last year's 60,000, which was also a record. Organisers say London Trans Plus Pride's now the biggest event of its kind in the world. The same-sex marriage has been legally recognised in Ukraine for the first time. Gay unions are banned there, but Zoyan Kiss and Taima Levchuk tied the knot in America 4 years ago. The pair filed a lawsuit for recognition last year. They say the district court ruling's a very important step towards marriage equality in Ukraine. Next, Australia's first housing project for transgender women. 7 properties are being renovated in Sydney to provide affordable and secure homes. It's being funded by the government. Kunja Brown and Chantel Martin have been working for this since 2011. They tell ABC News it can be hard as trans women to find somewhere to live.
We can't just go out there and rent privately because landlords won't rent to us.
When we do get into properties, there's that stigma and discrimination from neighbours.
The homes are in the inner city suburb of Darlinghurst, which has a big queer community. A queer ghost story featuring a mother who comes back from the dead as a vacuum cleaner has won a major film award. Thai horror comedy A Useful Ghost is actually a comment on how the country's state tries to erase things it doesn't like. The story also involves a gay couple whose family only accepts them for financial reasons, and a self-described academic ladyboy. There's a lot going on here. It's won the grand prize at the Cannes Film Festival's Critics Week. Director Ratchapoon Boonbanchacho.
LGBT people in Thailand are so pressured to prove themselves that they do something good to earn a place in the society. And I think it's kind of parallel to what happens to the ghosts in the film. It's like a conditional acceptance.
Thanks to the upcoming, that haunted vacuum cleaner's also involved in a sex scene. So this is what we're dealing with. And how do you fancy getting your hands on a cutlery set once owned by an 18th century lesbian power couple? Yeah, you do. Eleanor Butler and Sarah Ponsonby were known as the Ladies of Llangollen, an Irish couple, but they lived together in their mansion in Wales. Didn't occur to some people back then the pair were actually an item. A cutlery set engraved with their initials is going up for auction later this month, with a pre-sale price of between £800 and £1,200. Go on, treat yourself. No time to tell you that. About 36 LGBTQ+ organisations in Australia have signed a joint statement pushing back on culture war clowns attacking transgender women. Hi there, day 3 in our latest week of queer cheer. Later, toes for trans. First though, a prominent LGBTQ+ and pro-democracy activist has been freed from prison in Hong Kong after more than 4 years. Jimmy Sham was among 47 people convicted of conspiracy to commit subversion by holding an unofficial primary election to select candidates. The trial was labelled politically motivated by human rights groups and some Western governments. Jimmy tells Reuters he may be out now, but for how long?
Maybe tomorrow you still can see me. I'm free. Maybe tomorrow I will go back to the jail. I don't know.
While he was in jail, Jimmy won a partial legal victory in his fight for same-sex marriage rights in Hong Kong, a court ordering the city to find a way to recognise gay unions. A man picked on at high school for being gay has received an apology 20 years later. Misha Brown from Western New York's an influencer now with 3 million TikTok followers, posting videos where he's just generally being out and authentic. The 37-year-old's former bully's been seeing those, and as Misha explains, had this reason for reaching out.
I've got a son now. He's 15 and he told me he's gay. Man, all I thought about when he told me that was how I hoped people were nicer to him than I was to you. It makes me feel proud to be his dad, and hopefully that makes up for something. Yeah, I would say that makes up for something.
Misha says he's often contacted by the parents of queer children who show their kids his videos to let them know they deserve a full, authentic life. Next, a documentary on what it's really like to be transgender in the UK. There's a Kickstarter launching today for A Dance of Identity, which follows trans woman Sophie and her partner Sandy over a 6-year period. Covers Sophie's preparation for gender-affirming surgery, the hostility surrounding trans rights, and as she tells the BBC, the significance of ballet in her life.
I was about 4 or 5. I said to my mum I wanted to be a ballerina, and that was a sort of first sort of inkling I had that something wasn't quite right. I'm not transgender because I dance, and I don't dance because I'm transgender. I dance because I'm a dancer. It just happens to be that I'm transgender. It's a passion, it's the way it makes me feel, and oh, it's perfect. It's me.
Sophie's the first out transgender person to pass a Royal Academy of Dance exam. A link to the Kickstarter to fund the documentary's post-production is in our show notes. Madrid Pride's annual high heel race has been held in the queer-friendly neighbourhood of Chueca. Competitors, mostly men, run on cobbled streets in the sweltering summer heat, sporting heels of at least 15 centimetres. Along the way, they've got to pick up a purse and a dress and apply lipstick, with the winner taking the €350 prize. And a fashion designer's raising money for a transgender charity by selling videos of his feet on OnlyFans. The Alana Foundation in France provides scholarships and other support for trans young people and refugees who are at risk. Rick Owens has been inspired by the 19th century Italian aristocrat Contessa di Castiglione. Her feet became the only part of her she'd allow to be photographed because she thought she looked old, and know the feeling. No time to tell you that. A member of Norway's royal family's come out as bisexual. 22-year-old Maud Angelica Benz, fifth in line to the throne. And US dating app Archer says its users are nearly 6 times more likely to be looking for a husband than a hookup. Hi there. Queer Cheer Week continues. Later, why the bearded tit will soon be no more. First though, a gay politician's used his first speech in Parliament in Australia to give some hope to queer young people. Josh Dalija is Tasmania's first out senator. The Labour lawmaker revealed he experienced violence and hate in his younger years because of his sexuality. But
if you're going through a tough time, if you're wondering if someone will love you, if you're wondering if things will get better, I want you to know that yes, you can find love, and that you are loved, and that things will be okay. Find your safety net and latch on to what makes you happy.
Tasmania was the last Australian state to decriminalise homosexuality in 1997. It's since become the first to officially recognise people identifying as asexual, aromantic or agender. Non-binary and gender non-conforming people in Puerto Rico will be able to have an X gender marker on their birth certificates. A ruling from the Supreme Court's come about following a lawsuit. 6 non-binary people have been suing, saying their rights to equal protection under America's Constitution were being violated. Next, a theatre show about Section 28, which was a Don't Say Gay law in Scotland, England and Wales. Schools and local authorities were banned from promoting homosexuality for more than a decade from 1988, so kids just weren't taught about it. Performer Tom Marshman's written Section 28 and Me, described as sharing queer narratives of historical shame and invisibility. In the show, he outlines the climate of the time.
A is for the act to refrain local authorities from promoting homosexuality.
Can you tell me what a lesbian is, please?
Well.
D is for dyke. One of these days, these dykes are going to walk all over you.
What would you do if you found out your sister was a lesbian?
Killer.
Tom considers whether growing up when queer life was being silenced turned him into a show-off and made him feel compelled to share queer stories.
H is for hostility. The police raided gay bars and clubs. No one would report hate crimes because of the attitude of the police. K is for kick in the gob. To walk without fear with a kick in the gob. Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way.
The Drag University for Black and Latino people in Texas. Students don't just learn about performance and makeup at Drag U, but also the likes of public speaking and HIV awareness. The 6-week course teaches them to be effective LGBTQ+ advocates through drag. Chloe Montgomery, aka Chloe Yamore, says the community it's provided helped her to transition.
I don't want to live the wrong life and then die. I've been around the block for many years. I am not an unknown quantity. I don't need to be. Fear of what people are gonna do or say, do your worst. Worried about things that are never gonna happen.
Thanks to The Washington Post. That's from a poem Chloe wrote and performed for the course, run by advocacy group the Normal Anomaly Initiative, and a special mention for one of the other students with the drag name Bo Vine. And it's the end of the line for the bearded tit. Not talking about anti-queer US Vice President JD Vance, but rather a much-loved LGBTQ+ venue in Sydney, Australia. The performance space and bar's been around for 11 years, but the owner wants to do other things now, so it'll close in November. No time to tell you that Nyla Rose has become the first out trans wrestler to win the UK's Pro Wrestling Eve competition, and Star Trek's William Shatner's told LGBTQ+ fans at a convention to keep on queering. William, I don't know how to stop. Hi there, we're wrapping up our latest week of queer cheer. Later, calls to take the gay out of an Indian airport. First though, Dutch novelist Yael van der Woudens used an award acceptance speech to reveal she's intersex.
This little fact defined my life throughout my teens until I advocated for the healthcare that I needed, the surgery and the hormones that I needed, which not all intersex people need. Not all intersex people feel at odds with their gender presentation.
A romance novel, The Safe Keeps, won this year's Women's Prize for Fiction in London. The 38-year-old also took the opportunity to pay tribute to transgender people.
I am receiving truly the greatest honor of my life as a woman. And that is because of every single trans person who's fought for healthcare, who changed the system, the law, societal standards themselves. I stand on their shoulders.
Yael wins £30,000. Her book's been described as a classic in the making. Britain's got its first out LGBTQ+ Archbishop. Cherry Van's been elected to lead the Church of Wales, and it also makes her the only lesbian to serve as an Archbishop globally. Plus, she's the first female to rise to this position in any of Britain's Anglican churches. And another first, with a transgender person winning the Best Comedy Show award at the Edinburgh Fringe. Sam Nicoresti's Baby Doomers about life as a trans woman. Here's her take on Harry Potter's Wicked Grandma.
A person second most famous for pretending to be a man in order to invade the male-only space of modern crime fiction. I don't need you to be gender critical of me. Thank you, I have it covered.
A sassy robot wearing rainbow stripes, a cowboy hat and pride flags on its elbows has been out and about in West Hollywood. Videos show Rizbot approaching people and critiquing their attire.
Oh, you've got a watch. That's cute. Apple Watch telling you it's time to get some fashion sensed. Girl, you look like you just stepped out of a thrift store, but you're consistent.
Damn, I'm gonna go cry now.
This thing uses AI and deep learning. I don't know what that is, but it sounds modern, so it can interact with people. And calls to change the 3-letter code for an airport in India because that code is literally gay are rightly being ignored. An MP is unhappy about the abbreviation for Gaia, spelled G-A-Y-A, as it's socially and culturally offensive. These codes take the first 3 letters of the airport's location, so G-A-Y. The government says it won't be altered. In other words, pipe down, homophobe. Get in touch on our socials. We're at Pride Daily Pod. I'm Kev McGrath. All back to normal with your top LGBTQ+ news on Monday.